CBS Sports HQ presented by Fram, trusted since 1934. Welcoming UFC Hall of Famer Rashad Evans and CBS Sports combat analyst and co-host of Morning Combat Brian Campbell joins us from Vegas, was inside T-Mobile Arena. Conor suffers a lower leg injury, loses via doctor stoppage, a TKO in favor of Dustin Poirier. BC, take us inside the arena, your reaction and what you heard throughout the arena.
Yeah, this was an abrupt end to what was starting to become the best fight of this classic rivalry here, and potentially a classic itself from the swings of momentum, the refurbished, re-energized Conor McGregor 6 months removed from the first TKO defeat of his career. And then all of that energy, all of that celebrity attention, and there were many of them at this fight that was filling up that arena. The balloon popped pretty quickly when you realized that the fight was over. Conor McGregor could not stand and continue. So look, straight up, it's a womp-womp sort of effect because of what was at stake in this. Almost Dustin Poirier putting his lightweight title hopes and aspirations aside to finish this rivalry for the fame, the money, the pride, everything that goes with it. We don't really have a winner, although Poirier, of course, gets the first round TKO. Long-term business for UFC, though. I'm not sure this is an awful thing when you already heard UFC President Dana White say Conor McGregor will get a fourth shot at Poirier once he's healed from his injury. What if Poirier goes out there and wins the lightweight title in between? You're talking about a must-see fourth fight to this feud. It doesn't sound like it's over, according to Conor. Tonight, it seemed just more of a pause to future plans that we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, Rashad, what did you see in the first round? And specifically, did you see Dustin Poirier check that leg kick early in the first round?
Yeah, I did see it on the replay that it got played back. Yeah, when you're throwing those leg kicks like that, and the lower part of your leg is the most vulnerable, and especially when it concusses off of the knee or something like that, because when they're trying to land that lower leg kick, and that's what Conor was trying to aim for. He was trying to aim for the very thing that hurt him in his last fight, and you really seen him gunning for it. And it really did have some effect on Dustin early out. It kind of messed up his motion. It kind of had him kind of leaning in and not really being able to punch at punching range. So it did have its effects, but at the same time, it really hurt Conor as well.
So, BC, you're there at T-Mobile Arena. What are those around you saying? When Conor McGregor is on the ground, he's still talking, and then he gets stretchered off.
Again, there's a surreal feel to it because it's such an abrupt ending to what was building to a dramatic, intense, and important fight. I think, though, the biggest takeaway from McGregor, although, look, it was a nasty build filled with trash talk, bringing in Poirier's wife, and McGregor on the microphone after the fight wasn't done with that trash talk, so there was that bad taste in the mouth. But I think whether you're the MMA media who heavily criticized McGregor this week based on the quote-unquote sincerity and how well he looked talking trash, did we believe it? McGregor's performance in this round does show you that at the very least we're going to get the best of what's left of him. He's not the same guy from 4 or 5 years ago, but he looked very good tonight. He looked like a mixed martial artist again, which was his focus. He's putting the goals and hopes of a Manny Pacquiao boxing fight to the side. He went back to the lab and figured things out. It looked a little bit like that Conor of old with the movement, with the leg attack, with just the threat of more than the one-hit wonder there of walking you down with the left hand. That was there tonight. So I think this doesn't do a ton of hurt to Conor's brand in the long run, although it was shocking for many different ways inside of there because even though Poirier may have had the upper hand to close round one, this was a back-and-forth event with a very scrappy McGregor having shown up.
Yeah, Rashad, what did you see from Dustin Poirier? So let's give him some credit here.
Dustin did a really good job of making the adjustments that he needed to make. Conor came out with the heavy kick game early, and Dustin had to adjust to that because that's what Conor didn't do in the last fight. So once he adjusted to that, got inside the range where he can walk Conor down and really close the distance, he made Conor wrestle. And once Conor wrestled, it really took a lot out of Conor because Conor was caught in the middle where, do I defend the shot or do I go for this guillotine? He chose the guillotine, and he almost had a really good choke. But at the end of the day, Dustin maintained his composure, got himself in good position, and then got Conor in a position where he was able to just grind him out, landing heavy shots, those heavy elbows, really discombobulated Conor. When he got back up to his feet, he was not the same fighter. And you could just see the grind that Dustin has really put in, the effort that he's put in, just mastering that ground attack, because that was not the Dustin that we've seen in previous fights. This Dustin got a lot more meaner when it came to his ground and pound on the ground.
Brian, so is it as simple as this? Dustin Poirier goes to fight Charles Oliveira. No matter what happens there, then Poirier goes and fights Conor McGregor once he's healthy, once he's healed.
Exactly. And look, let's be honest here. This is a little bit of pro wrestling booking, how it played out. I'm not trying to say the injury wasn't real or the result of the fight tonight. That was all real. But the idea that UFC can use this as almost like a cliffhanger to future events. It's like, this is the end of this movie. But hey, you got to see the sequel because it's going to get wilder, and it will. Poirier deserves that title opportunity, the one he pushed aside earlier this year to go after McGregor a third time. Charles Oliveira is a tough customer. That's a pay-per-view main event for the full title that needs to happen. But yes, I do believe whether Dustin Poirier becomes your UFC lightweight champion this calendar year or not, this is another big blockbuster or repeat opponent for McGregor, who's still got that lottery ticket for a third Nate Diaz fight out there, still has a lot of big names he's going to fight to close his career. You got to believe that Poirier will be next as soon as McGregor is physically able.
So BC, then, like I talked to Rashad about this before we went on, and the scenario plays itself out really well, especially like what you said about the boxing drama and all that, right? So if Conor McGregor comes back healthy and he wins the fourth fight, then Poirier is going to want to fight a fifth time. So then we're going to have a fifth fight in this absolute spectacle rivalry. I mean, this is setting up to be incredible.
It is, and then, you have the potential to add in the lightweight title into this. The whole theme around this fight tonight was, is McGregor still elite? Can he win this grudge match against Poirier and then go back in there to fight for his old belt? So while that's not going to happen, with Poirier probably being a favorite against Oliveira, I'm not sure what the lines would be set, but you'd have to love his chances. Imagine Dustin Poirier taking that championship, the one big accomplishment in his great and growingly legendary career that he hasn't had. Imagine if he grabs that, then you insert Conor back in. Now you've got the crown, the prize right there. There is so much potential for new layers of storytelling, more history to be written, and to your point, Akeem, maybe a fifth, sixth, seventh fight. I mean, where are we going to see more of? Rocky movies or fights between Poirier and McGregor? I can sign up for both.
I agree, BC. The thing about it is, if he does, Dustin Poirier win the title, become the 155 champion, that just takes this match up to a whole nother level for the fourth time. But even if he loses, that also brings this fight to another level, because then it just ups the chances that Conor can win the fourth fight and then push us to the fifth fight. So there's a lot of excitement with these two matching up and what potentially can happen in the future. But I mean, Dustin Poirier, man, he's looking unstoppable right now. I mean, whoever has to fight him next is going to be in for a tough one.
All right. BC, we all know that this was a disappointing way to end the fight. I mean, we wanted to see, both guys be healthy throughout. Of course, we want to see a finish on either side. You had Dustin Poirier winning this fight, both you and Luke Thomas all week on Dustin Poirier. When you take a look back at this fight, is it going to be surrounded all by disappointment, or did you learn something? Did you take something away from what you did see in the first round?
Yeah, it's like I hate that the whole build-up to this fight's about McGregor, and guess what? The whole post-fight analysis is also about McGregor, and he didn't win. Look, Poirier looked great again. This fight was a back-and-forth war for a short minute there, and Poirier was turned things around and had would have gotten the hand raised to win the round on my scorecard. So he fought great, but the things I learned I already knew that about Poirier. I learned that McGregor can go back into the laboratory, can rekindle that fire. I didn't necessarily believe in the sincerity, or here's that word again, authenticity of some of the McGregor trash talk or what have you in his antics this week, but none of that mattered when he got in the cage, because it seemed like he needed to do that for himself, and it worked. We had the aggression, we had that dynamic. Not the same McGregor magic from when he used to call his shots and then somehow back it up, but that dynamic that you're not sure what's going to happen next. He may be able to reach somewhere or do something you didn't see coming. That part of McGregor is back. That's great news for UFC's bottom line. It's great news for pay-per-view sales. It also means that I still believe Conor McGregor can go in there against elites and have a good shot at winning.
Well, Conor McGregor will have surgery in the morning on Sunday. He says he wants to run it back and fight a fourth time.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.